Okay, I think I finally have the mic on, and welcome you all. And very grateful to be here, present with all of you tonight. We have Kim Doucette, Kimspirational, coming on board, and we have to pre-record this show early in the morning because Kim is in Europe and we're here in Canada. So there was quite a bit of time difference, and but it's an awesome show, and I know you guys are gonna love it. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the show. I want to start playing it. Okay. I will stay here to respond to any comments, any questions. I'll be on the chat, so feel free to ask any questions. Happy to connect with you guys. Thank you. Hi there. Happy to be here in our new show. Delighted. We have a great friend of mine. We know each other for more than 10 years, and she came to Peru with me in 2010. It was quite an amazing journey. We'll talk about that in a minute. Her name is Kim Doucette. Most people know her as Kimspirational because she's always so inspiring, and she's an author. She's a psychic medium, and I think Kim is right here. Are you here with us, Kim? Can you hear me? There she goes. There she is. So delighted to have Kimspirational here. How you doing, girl? Can you hear me? I can still not hear you. So check your
Oh,
settings.
we should be able to hear each other now.
Awesome. Listen, the picture is nice and clear.
Yes.
Welcome you to the show, Kim. This is
Thank you.
an exciting new journey for me. I'm starting this radio program, and I'm inviting like-minded people to come into the show and start. There is Gorats, and we welcome Gorats too. How you doing, Gorats?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So yes. So Kim, let me adjust my camera a little bit so I can see you. Give me a second here. I need to bring you up a little bit. So awesome to have you, both of you. And this is my other guest by the name of Gorat, is Kim's husband. And Gorat is joining us and also participating in the call, which is really exciting. Two great light workers, light warriors for the times being. Yes, we are in that time where everything is shifting and changing, and here we are bringing hope to everyone here in the show. And so, Kim, I want to just get you to introduce yourself a little bit and let us know who you are, and give us, as I told you the other day, the elevator talk pitch, but a little, 30, food building, whatever you want to call it, floors, not food. But
Thank you. Thank you.
person.
Well, thank you for the opportunity for being here, Pierre, and just knowing you as the amazing person that you are. It's such an expansion. So yeah, thank you. So I want to talk a tiny bit about when I was a child, but I'm going to bring it into a bigger perspective. So as a child, of course, I had a lot of light within me. There was many experiences that I had that were there to test my light, but at the same time, they were there to expand it. So I think it's so important to kind of look at a little bit of timelines to bring it into what we're going to be talking about today.
Okay.
So when I was a child, I knew that I was here as a healer in the world, and I didn't even know what that meant. I knew that I was here to heal, and I knew that I was going to be doing something big. And I think a lot of us have been born with that innate knowing. So I was seeing spirits, I was seeing visions. I had a vision that I was even going to go to Africa. So I had other visions that I was going to be speaking to large audiences. And here we are today as an example. But the funny part was I was a very silent child. I was very silent. I had cousins that came to live with me, and I remember them saying, we had to get you to blink for yes, or blink twice for no, so that we even knew what you wanted to eat.
Okay,
I
that's
went
amazing. So you were a very sensitive kid.
super sensitive, super sensitive. And it probably started with, different experiences that were happening since I was born. I was 2 weeks late. The umbilical cord had cut off. I almost died. The doctor said it was impossible. Just from there, when I was 1 year old, I had been almost trampled to death by a horse. I was 2 years old when a dog bit me and went right through the throat, right through the mouth.
Oh my God, I didn't know all of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff,
Holy
a lot of
cow.
stuff. So there's rhyme and reason why I want to bring this up. When I was 4 years old, I was put in a dryer by my brother, and he turned it on. And my mom saved me in all three events. But it was when I was 9 years old when the consciousness changed, when I started getting an understanding that there was something beyond, because my dad had dove off a bridge and split his head open.
Oh my gosh.
And just before that, he had been reading about meditation and telling us that it can save your life.
Yeah.
So quite literally, he used a meditation and a visualization to be able to stop himself from bleeding. We were 30 minutes from an ambulance and another 30 minutes from a hospital. So the doctor said he should have been dead. The blood that he lost was incredible.
Wow.
And then there's events like, 12 years old, I had a gang rape. 18 years old, I was raped twice. Again, things that I don't normally say, but it's so important. And I'll tie this in, I promise. When I was 15 years old, I drowned. I died. I came out of the body. And that's when an angel came to me and gave me an opportunity and said, if you go inside this body, if you go back, I promise you, you will be able to help people. And do you want to help people? And I didn't want to go back. It felt amazing. But I did take that choice, and I went back in the body. And so it took some time for me to be able to kind of adjust, but these were waves of experiences that I was getting. These were ups and these were downs. And what was happening is I was getting experience and knowledge, but I was also getting a built-in purpose for the future. So that's when, of course, I grew up. I went to university, studied signs and symbols. I went to Korea and taught children. And that's where I started to find my own personal balance, learn to meditate. But I just want to talk about Australia just for a second. Okay. This is where I'll tie it in, I promise. I went to Australia, and my ex-husband now had decided that he was going to walk around Ayers Rock in Uluru. Or sorry, up on the rock. I was devastated.
I didn't know you've been in Uluru.
Yes.
Yeah, awesome.
So when he had gone on it, and the locals had asked, don't go on the rock. So I was devastated, and I wanted to appease the spirits. I wanted to say sorry. So I actually did the 10-kilometer walk around Ayers Rock. And when I did, a big python literally came.
Okay.
And it was an experience. This is where life really changed me, because I started speaking in a different language. I started singing in a different language. And I recognized that the snake was actually looking at me and recognizing me as somebody. And it turned around and it went the other direction. I was asking it for forgiveness. When I went to Africa, not long after, I had met several different people, but I was in Uganda, in the middle of Uganda. I'm in a village within a village within a village. And there was a woman who asked me to come and meet her. And she was called the Chosen One. And she had been bitten by a python, or a very dangerous snake. And her life was saved by locals who used natural medicines to be able to heal her. She didn't get to a hospital. Her leg was completely blackened. And she wanted to meet me because she had felt me, she had dreamed about me, and she told me that she needed to know about this snake story, that it would be very important in the future.
Yeah.
So I didn't put it together, Pierre, until after I met you, and after I went to Peru. Uh, Bringing in serpent energy, but also when I started learning more about my native connection, because my grandmother is Mi'kmaq, was half Mi'kmaq. And so when I started studying native spirituality, this is when I realized that one of my favorite songs, when I asked what it was called, they said it was a snake medicine song.
My God.
So putting all of these new experiences together, understanding, okay, this is not just Kundalini energy that I'm learning about, but it was about experience, was the actual snake in my life. And that coming to my own healing and coming to my own understanding for my new world that I was creating, I was finding the anti-venom for my life. So I just wanted to share that coming in.
Beautiful.
And I know you know why.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And right now, just to summarize your past story to what are you doing right now? What is the kind of work that you do? Some of the talents that came from these shamanic initiations, because you've been having shamanic initiations from the time that you were born. If you think about the umbilical cord, that's a snake. So that's another snake. There you go.
Yes,
Right?
thank you. I knew you would catch that.
you were initiated from the beginning by the dog, by all these different things that happened. Going to Uluru in Australia, that's an amazing place. It's like going to Machu Picchu for South America, right? There's a great energy at that place. So
yeah, I believe that this was happening as out-of-body experiences or near-death experiences, because it was opening and expanding the mediumship that I would later use. So now I do a lot of mediumship readings and shamanic healings, thanks to your teachings, and helping people the best that I can. And mediumship seems to be the thing that has chosen me.
Right. You know what I find is that there's a lot of people that have these near-to-death experiences where they step out of the body, be it that is lightning, be it that there is an animal, a bear in the rainforest, is the jaguar. If the jaguar jumps at you, and these kind of experiences, when people disconnect from the body and step out, and they can see it from that perspective, will be kind of like the eagle viewing from up here and understanding that life is not just here in the body, but we are here in the body and also outside of the body, and we are multidimensional beings. So there's much to us. When we have that stepping out and coming back, there's a whole shift that happens. I mean, people change amazingly. So I see that with all these initiations, there's a lot of gifts that came to you. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely taught me to expand, to enlighten myself and to learn to dissect.
Do you want to talk about that?
To learn to take things and understand that things happen for a reason. If we think about everything that's happening in the world right now, I have an understanding that it's all happening for a reason. I also have an understanding that the angels and the guides, the spirit guides, the fairies, the angels, they all have my back.
Yeah.
And as they do with everyone else, and this is the part where I didn't fear death anymore. I don't fear death. So that was probably the biggest gift. But there's a lot that comes out of it. Meaning and purpose, of course, is my biggest and truest gift that I got.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of the abilities that you have? You are a psychic medium. Did that start from the beginning, or did that?
I noticed when I was 7. When I was 7, I started seeing spirits. I tried to shut it down. I saw my grandmother. She named herself. She gave me a name that there's no way that I could have known. So my parents were becoming aware of it at a very young age. And they worked with it. I had my imaginary friends that they allowed me to name and work with. But it was, it was later in life that I started realizing that it's something that could be used for a greater good. I was scared of it. I'll be honest, I tried to snuff it down. So, using alcohol, I wasn't a drug user, but, anything as a teenager just to stop it from happening. But each experience brought it back again and again. So I, that's where it takes me when you ask me that question.
Yeah, and I think that there's a lot of people out there that have talents, and they are also scared of these kind of abilities, or hearing voices, or getting messages, and they freak out, and they try to put it away. So anything that you can say to people like that are sensitive, they have a talent, and then behind that there's a purpose. I mean, you went through some really grueling experiences in your life. You mentioned about this rape, and we can stay as a victim, we can stay as a wounded self, but there's a purpose for this, right?
Yes.
Somehow the negative side identifies you from the beginning. You say, oh my God, she's coming back, and these negative beings are here on the earth forever. They never leave, and they're here. And as soon as they see you returning, they say, okay, send the dog, send this, send the rapers, let's put her down, let's shatter her light, let's do all this stuff. And it takes, I know, a lot of courage to come back and redeem yourself to be who you are right now.
Right. And the people that are experiencing things, if they're experiencing, sensitivities, if they're experiencing spirits, they have to realize that this is their natural state. And if we weren't so shut down in this world, if we weren't so numbed by society's excitements, we'll say, entertainment, then we would be totally open to this. If you take children are more apt to be able to see spirits. They're not afraid. They're not afraid of who they are. And they will tell you that they see grandpa in the corner. They will tell you that they've had visions. And, not allowing this is not allowing yourself to feel. So we need to understand that feeling is a gift. Visualizations are a gift. And it is our natural and innate ability. And the more we expand it, the more we can use it for a greater good. But the problem is people are experiencing it and they're thinking of it as this negative experience, and that kind of like puts them in a different category. They're thinking of themselves as something strange, something odd, instead of thinking, finally, I'm becoming normal.
Or they don't fit in a group, right? And say, okay, I'm weird, I don't fit. Maybe I need this. Maybe I need a sexual change because I don't fit in my body.
Right.
So there's a lot of confusion that happens with this, with being, I think, psychically inclined or having some of these talents. And I think it's for some of the young people, they are having a really hard time because that not feeding creates a lot of confusion.
Yes. Yeah, and if we could just look at it and think, this is what makes me normal. And it's interesting because if you look at a lot of tribes and they look at someone who is questioning their sexuality, they're two-spirited people is how they look at them. Yeah. So a two-spirited person means that they have a balance between their male and their female. Yeah. So I think what's happening in with people who are kind of expanding their sensitivity is quite literally that they are also coming to that balance. Exactly. And to be able to focus and look at it and think, okay, what is this balance, and how can it help me? How can I expand it and kind of connect it with my gift? It's a very important thing to do, I think.
Yes. So I want to run in with some of the questions. Recently every time I send an email, I ask people to send me questions, and there was a lady that sent me a question. I thought it was very interesting. Right? We are in the process of bringing hope and bringing all these positive things that are really happening because there's not really outlets out there to push in the positive stuff. More of the social media and the media they're focusing on the disgraces that are happening, the people that have COVID, the problem with the vaccines. I mean, all of these people losing their jobs, losing their businesses, and all of these things, right? So the question that I had was, as we go into this process, right? How can we create a new world? It's a intricate and complicated question, and I think it's so appropriate that people might want to hear what are some of the pointers that we might have to bring to this question.
Well, I think we've been in an identity shift for a while.
Okay.
I've spoken before in other talks about, in 2012 we were more ready at that time for actually what's happening right now. And if you flip 2012 around, the 12 becomes 21. And we're in 2021 with an opportunity of expansion. Yes, there's a lot of stuff happening, but it's happening for a greater good, in my belief. And I really do believe that there's a old reality and a new reality that we're in the middle of changing. And if we were to take that question and just kind of look at it from a different perspective, then we could understand that we're just within an identity shift. And we're not locked down inside our spirit. We're just locked down in an outer sense. So to take responsibility, that's the other thing. It's very, very important that we need to take responsibility for the fact that we have kind of created this world that we're in. We've fed into systems. We've fed into belief systems. We've fed into the matrix that was given to us. So if we could look at it as, we're here taking responsibility, we're gonna not look at it from a disadvantage. We'll look at it as an advantage because we're the ones that can change it.
And that will be probably the question. The real question is, how can we take all this convulsion, all this craziness, and shift it as an opportunity, And going back to your story, I mean, see all the things that happened to you, and because of courage, because of determination, because of focusing, you went through a healing process that you remove yourself from being a victim into being victorious, into going into that cocoon and coming with your flying wings. You went and caught your wings, and you were able to fly and come to who you are. And even though there's COVID, there's all these problems in the world, you're still being the same.
Yes.
You're not suffering and struggling. That's what I feel from you. I don't see you struggling or being depressed or when is this going to end? I'm so fed up with this situation. Why is that? Why? Why can you tell us?
Because I'm not identifying with it.
Okay.
It's not me. Suffering is only experience. It's only experience that expands us, right? So there's a medicine that we're being given right now. So I'm looking at it from that perspective. So I love how you're saying not being a victim, because I am not a victim. Even though those things happen to me, they're just waves of experiences. They're just, like I said, they were building a purpose. And right now, that's what's happening. We're having a purpose being built. And what is that purpose? What are we supposed to do with this? What could we be doing with our time instead of worrying about what's on the news? So instead of watching that news, what should we be concentrating on? I think that's the new reality that we need to be creating right now.
Right. And I think that there's so many people caught into the political arena that has gone through the United States, right? The Republicans are down in the press, and even the Democrats are down in the press because whatever they were told that this president was going to do is not happening. So there's a lot of hope put into political situations and change, and a lot of people are down. And basically, for me, how I see it is, we need to, as you're saying, we need to keep cultivating our spirituality. We need to get stronger in our faith. For a lot of the people are Christians, right? We need to keep going into our faith and praying harder, praying deeper, and connecting deeper, and raising the vibration, our own personal vibration, because that's the only way that we're going to be able to attract that timeline that is already there. I believe that things have already happened. So those are there. It's just a matter of shifting the paradigm, and we do it as an individual. We do our inner work, so we become the peace that we are seeking. We become the world that we're seeking by not identifying with whatever is out there, but identifying deeply inside with who we are, with our purpose, and what are we here to do. And by doing that, as an individual, we connect with other like-minded individuals that are doing the same. So that way we raise the vibration of the earth. Because the more we raise a vibration, we are bringing more light into the earth. And there's only space for one thing. So there's either light or it's darkness. The moment that you put the light on, darkness goes away, right?
Absolutely.
So if we bring that light and keep anchoring the light, then darkness is going to dispel. Whatever is corruption, whatever there is greed, corruption, ambition, and murders, and whatever it is, all of that is going to come to the surface because we are pointing the light. So that's where I think that we as a group, as collective, we need to focus on that is responsible, as you well said it, we have to be responsible for our own. The moment that we lower our vibration collectively, we go down and we are not putting light in there, so darkness is going to take over. So there's a huge responsibility right now to create this shift. It's happening. We're being supported by the angels, by God. We are all being supported, but we need to do our part.
Yes. Yeah, and light, just like darkness, light is a boomerang. And the more we throw out, eventually it will come to us. And even though it seems at this moment that we don't have as much light, we feel that things are wobbly. We feel that the earth is wobbly underneath us. But if we are to hold the intention of healing, hold the intention of light, that is a boomerang that will eventually come back to us. My apologies. I think I have a...
I can see you. I can see you. You're still...
Yeah, something popping up on my computer here. I didn't realize there was another program open. Yeah, so I love everything that you're saying. And there's an expansion coming. That's the true essence of what it is. It's just right now to get through it. And what is it that we need to be doing, right? So there's lots of things that we need to understand and to focus on.
One of the things that I think is that collectively we need to connect to the pools, connect to the different pools and vibrations that are out there in the ether, right? Because that's how everything manifests. We create energetically by thought and emotion and action, right? And then that is out in the ether. That's in the higher dimensions, let's say 5, 6 dimension, and then it lands into the earth, and it manifests in matter, right? Yeah. So we need to connect to the pools that are out there, pools of people that are praying. So intentionally, I think that is great to, as soon as we go in and start praying or meditating, you want to set that intention to say, I am connecting with all like-minded individuals that vibrate at a very high vibration, a higher frequency, where we are all coming together and created in these higher planes. So all this light can come down to the earth and materialize and come down. So intentionally, not thinking that we are alone and just saying, Heavenly Father, please do this, change the world. It's like intentionally, I am connecting with all my brothers and sisters that are creating change at this time. I am tapping into this vibration. I am coming on board, coming online, and from this place, with my prayers and my brothers and sisters' prayers, we are united, creating all these threads of this tapestry that's going to land on the earth and create more and more shift. Yes. So I think it's a great concept to bring it forth to create this change on the earth, because that's what's needed.
Yes, and for those that are wondering, how do I do that? Just going right back to the I am, and what do I identify with? What is my reality? I am. So those are about positive affirmations. And when we affirm something, It's like when we claim the light of the Creator, when we claim protection, when we claim that we are, then we become, right? So if we claim that we are in a bad way, we will be in a bad way. And I had something here written. Maybe Goddess could run and grab it for me. But the earth, I have it on my other desk. But yeah, the spirits were playing with me today, and they were explaining about the earth and how, you know, we could look at it one way or we could look at it another. And if we claim what we want, we will get it. I think that's the important part here.
There's words bringing you the.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I have Earth.
Bring it closer to you so I can see it. Okay, Earth entering a rough time here, or Earth a right to heaven, engineering a route to heaven, or evolution around a reality to heal. Okay, is there any more below? That's it. Okay.
No, that's it. But it was interesting because Earth entering a rough time here. You know, if we want to look at it that way, that's where we're going to get stuck. But I like the earning a right to heaven. Yes. Because, or evolution around a reality to heal. And so that goes back to that matrix, that reality that we have created and that we own. You know, we associate ourselves with.
We have to claim it. We have to decree that it's ours and make it happen.
Yeah, and the new matrix, because there's the matrix, the one that we agreed to accept, and then there's the new one that we're creating. So this part is very important, because it's like you and I spoke before, and I think you called it a creative. What did you creative? No, sorry, collective creation.
Collective creation. Right.
Yeah. I had to stop and think. Collective creation.
Yeah, and we need to go into that space. We need to go.
Yes. So there's the old and the new, and we need to break up with the old. Right.
You know, as you mentioned that last week, I was giving an affirmation. You know, that is based in Christ's words. I mean, he talked about, if you have faith, you can move mountains. Don't you know that you are God's? And so there's a claiming. So we're talking about claiming.
Yes.
We need to claim that we are God's. It's the only way, because if we don't claim that, then, you know, we are always seen as these little ones, and never stepping into these miraculous powers like Jesus had. I mean, the miracles that he was able to offer, is God incarnated. That's what we know that Jesus Christ is. But Jesus had a process of transformation. He had a process of being human, and he needed to believe that he was God to be able to do whatever he was doing. Because as a creator, he could dematerialize things and materialize things by believing that he was God. And that's what he taught his apostles. And the apostles, after the 40 days of transformation, they were able to create miracles as Jesus, right? So don't you know that you are God's? Greater things you can do, greater and bigger things you can do than I have done. That's what he said. So the affirmation, if I can remember it, okay, I'm going to try to see if I can remember. It goes like this. I am, and it started with the I am. I am a sovereign being of light. I am a child of God. The divine dwells within me. Greater and bigger things I can do. My faith moves mountains. I am one with God, my Creator, Mother, Father God. I am one with Jesus Christ. I am God. I am God. I am God. So listen, I remember it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it really, you know, we need to embody that, because as soon as I'm just getting all the shivers right now, all around me.
Me
we
too.
need to embody that belief.
Truth bumps. I'm getting truth bumps.
Truth bumps, right. We need to believe that we are so amazing, so amazing, because it's from this point, from this place, that we create the new world, the new earth, the new earth that's happening right now, and that's the only way. If we don't believe that we can move mountains, then we're going to be looking at all this grace, and we are victims. We have to go beyond, and we can transcend so many limitations. This is happening. It is happening. As we know, it is happening. People are having spontaneous Kundalini awakenings, because that's a light that is coming into the earth. And when we are awakened spiritually, then our third eye opens, so we can see and discern truth from lies, right? We know it. We know
Yes.
it. Since
Yes.
I brought that, can you let us know discernment? Because for you, I think it has been also a teaching. We have gone through different places, and our journeys have been walking somehow close to each other, a little parallel. You came to Peru, and you've done several different things. I know you got involved with those crystals, and and you needed to trust yourself, right? So you want to talk about that? Can I bring that up?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. You don't
Absolutely.
need to say the name, but
Yeah, yeah. I had an experience, one of those waves of experience where I was led into a company that was working with crystals, and I was being told one thing, but I was knowing another. My insides were quaking. They were rumbling. Everything was telling me no. But because I thought, okay, I don't know better, I want to humble myself. I'm trying to, look at the teachings and allow myself to, take in the light. But everything in me, my body was a basic tool that was telling me that you're going the wrong direction, which was no different than some of those older experiences that I had when I was younger, like don't go to that party. My body was telling me the same quaking energy. And even though I had experiences in the past that told me no, I still went in a direction where I thought somebody else was more strong, that I couldn't save myself. So falling into this victim trap, almost, until I realized, oh my gosh, this is not for me. So when I was told you are dark, I was like, no, I am light. I know I'm light. I know who I am. I know those experiences that I had. So being able to use those discerning feelings, knowing what is happening in your body to know what direction to go. So one example of that right now might be people who are choosing whether or not they're taking the vaccine, as an example. So what does your being body able to tell use you? Those it could be different directions that we're going in the world. Do we knowing do this? Do what is that? What job do I do? And if the body is telling you that it's the wrong direction, if you're having a panic, it's happening for a reason. So discernment definitely became one of my big tools of understanding. It helped me understand also, as a clairsentient being, that I need to listen to those things. So empaths that are out there that are feeling stuff, that are feeling that quake, going certain directions, they need to listen to that.
Right. I think it's so important. So many of us don't listen, or just for a moment, there's a moment of doubt and just say, oh, peer pressure, and go and do it. And we have some of the things are happening here in our community, right? There's local teachers that kind of like felt pressured to take the vaccine, and they did the AS vaccine. I'm not going to say it, but it's, start with an A and continue with an S, and the second word. And they were kind of like feel the pressure because of the children and the people that were involved in the system here. And 20 people took that Inovax. I'm going to call it Inovax so we don't trip some filters in here. And there are 13 of them that are sick they've been sick for 2 weeks right now. and is complicated. So, and I know one of our loved ones that we know that she's mega sensitive and has a lot of talents. She really felt that she shouldn't do it, and then suddenly, she didn't listen to her inner voice because she didn't want to disappoint the other teachers, and she didn't do it. She did it, and is struggling right now with the implications of this, Innovax that was
Yes.
happening. And it's so important, as you say this, it's so important for people to really listen inside. If doing this is bringing anxiety, don't do it. Just don't do it.
Yeah, and if your body is telling you you need it, that's okay also. So everybody is different.
Every-
Everybody is so different, and discernment is something I think that I will always be working on. And to realize that, people who look like they're totally balanced, we're not all balanced. I can admit that every single day I'm working on my balance, which means that I get up and I do the same routines every single day, starting at 1, 2, 3. If I get to number 10, great. But there's not many days that I actually fully get to all of my goals.
Yeah.
And so the people that are out there and they're also worrying about the fact that they're a little bit off balance right now, it's okay. It's all okay. That, if you can quiet your mind and not have an expectation of yourself, then discernment is going to come a lot easier, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
So taking care of themselves is going to be very
There's another
important.
question since you bring this. There's another question there that we were talking the other day, and it had to do with we are divorcing. It's kind of like we are divorcing. It's kind of like going through divorce, right? Okay, you want to talk about that a little bit and explain
Absolutely.
that concept?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're divorcing the old matrix. We're the old reality. And so when we're going through a divorce, when we're going through a big breakup, what happens? It's the same idea as when people die. We go through denial. We go through anger, and eventually we get to the stage of acceptance. So we have to go through a grieving process in
Right.
order to get past this divorce. And when we're divorcing something, it means that we're losing our identity again, back to identity. So it's an identity crisis that we go through. And with an identity crisis, it's who am I? Your job changes, new phases in your life, new ways of doing things. And these are the things that we're all experiencing all at once at this time in this world. But the people that were sort of like disconnecting from the reality before are finding that they're more balanced now. They're not thrown off so much, but it's because they've kind of dealt with themselves as a person and had the breakup before the world sort of forced it to happen. And we're in a forced breakup right now. We didn't expect it to break up. We thought the world was the way it was, and then suddenly a new reality was put on us. Just like if somebody divorces you unexpectedly, you don't know what to expect. You don't know who you are. So it's a total surprise. And then once we get to that acceptance changes things, because then we're not having to go one certain direction. We're not having an expectation, and we're not so attached to the outcome. And then we learn to be who we are without that identity, without that person. So the world, as we knew it, right, as you say, is becoming the earth. And the earth is our new reality, connecting to the earth. Instead of being worldly, we're becoming earthly.
Thank you. I love that. I really love that. With that, and what Kim is trying to say, so just to be clear, acceptance has nothing to do with accepting being masked. Okay, we're
Right.
talking about personal acceptance of our shadow self.
Yes.
Whatever we're going through, be it that is created by the bad guys or by God or whoever created this pandemic to the world, it doesn't really matter as much as taking this opportunity to go within and process and go within and look at what do you fear, Do you fear death? Do you fear, what are your fears? What is being triggered by all these things, outside things, as outside as inside, as above as below? What is being triggered to you? What is being triggered in you? And look at it. Because the moment that we look at our fears and go ahead, head on, and dissolve those fears, we start transforming. By looking at that, we realize that there's nothing to fear. So acceptance comes as a natural state. You swing straight into acceptance and you say, well, I'm alive. I'm here. I'm in the present. So I'm not fearful of the future, because that's unreal. That is not real. That's the future. The reality is right now, right here. So you're connecting with the real fear, and once you understand that the future is dissolved and you are here, you're in present, you're being mindful, you're being here with yourself. And when you start coming into that realization and accepting that you are a being of light and that you are okay right here in the present, then you start radiating again that love and light that you have in your heart. So that is the acceptance that we're talking about. We're not talking about accept this or not accept that. That's a different subject.
Yes. And coming to mind also is the fact that we are here on Earth, and accepting the fact that we took this mission.
Right.
A lot of us didn't have to come back. But why are we, as light beings, coming back to the Earth when there's such a shift?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, I think it happened because we came back with an opportunity to sharpen our light, to make it brighter, but also to test that light.
Mm-hmm.
But we are accepting being here and thinking, why am I here? Who am I? There's a whole new reality. It's a brand new reality. And it's interesting to me, how the spirits look at it.
Okay, that was another question there. What are your spiritual guides saying?
Well, doing mediumship readings every day, I'm able to connect with guides, especially people who have crossed over, past loved ones. Mm-hmm. And you would think that they'd be freaking out right now.
Right.
But in reality, there's very little talk about everything that's happening in the world right now. They're not concerned whatsoever about the future of people. They're actually quite happy that everybody's going through what they're going through, but they're not actually looking at it as a crisis at all. They're looking at it literally, using words like, wow, what an expansion for this person, what an experience, all these things that I talked about when I talked about my life. And the fact that people are picking up their kind of as if you're picking up lineage from your spaces and your experiences. When you travel the world, you pick up your lineages of places maybe you've lived in other lives.
Mm-hmm.
But they're looking at this experience as if they're picking up a lineage, they're picking up a gift, an understanding, something innately within them that they're going to be able to bring forward. The other thing that the spirits have said over and over and over is that this will last for 3 years.
Okay.
So from the time period that it was first introduced, which
Mm-hmm.
I believe was November 2019.
2019, right?
So we're looking at just being over a year. And so what does that mean? Like, people want to hear it's going to be over tomorrow.
Right.
They want to hear that. But what does that mean? How is it going to affect us for 3 years? That is a question.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that it also prompts us to be like chameleons, right? We need to adjust, we need to shift, we need to move, we need to create something for many people that have been, I have a business, I bring people to Peru, that's part of my business, and that's gone. I don't have it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
I cannot fly, I cannot travel, the Air Canada from Canada is still not flying. I doubt that it's flying. I haven't checked recently, but these are things that are completely changed me. So I have to be creative enough to shift and and move into doing something different that would as many people have to be like chameleons to provide and create something. So immediately last year, as I knew that something was happening and I didn't know what was going to happen, I didn't know if the food chain was going to be disrupted, I started working on my garden. So I established 2 big pots of garlic of land that I could plant my garden in. We still have potatoes. I mean, tons of potatoes, and they're starting to root right now. So we have potatoes to plant again. We have, all different things. I got ourselves. We got a tower garden, so we have all of our produce in the house. Right now, we have lettuce and all the greens. We have a tower garden. It's aeroponics, and we cultivate in the house. So we're eating lettuce for the entire winter out of our aeroponic tower, which is awesome. So these are things that it really make a shift. I mean,
these are the opportunities.
Okay, oh, we're not gonna have food, so make your own food. Okay, what are the benefits of you being responsible and doing what you're supposed to do? Okay, there's no chemicals in whatever I'm eating, right? Nothing, completely organic, right? I'm eating very healthy food because I am creating that food. I am there. I did it in the summer, spring, summer last year, and I put it away. I got myself a big freezer. I also got myself a generator. So I was prepared for anything, right? If there is a power shortage, I have something. If there is a lack of food, I have it. So I wasn't worried. I put everything where I was supposed to put it, right? So the challenge creates an opportunity for bettering something that we were so codependent on a system. So as I see it, whatever is happening, it might continue for another 2 years till November 2022, Okay, one thing that I can say, work on your food, start planting your gardens here in the Northern Hemisphere, start saving your food, get a freezer so you can freeze your food. Learn how to do this so you have enough food, even though there's no shortage, right? But at least the benefit is that you have become more self-sufficient, more independent, and you have nothing to worry because you're self-sufficient. So
yes, and for those that can't be, get to know your local farmers. There's lots of people that are growing for other people, and if people can make other people aware, share that with the world. Let other people know who's doing what. And for example, one farmer might have extra eggs at this time, or you can talk to farmers and say, how can I help you help others? And allowing small businesses to be able to thrive again. That's what I see that's going to happen. Because right now, obviously, these big businesses are the ones that are staying okay. So you look at the grocery stores, all of that, but the smaller businesses are starting to, kind of either redesign themselves, and if they don't, they're getting out of business. So this is the only wonky part about it. Or we can look at it like, if we could start looking at the little guy and find out more about who's out there, selling sensitive soap, selling stuff that's good for the environment. If we can take time now to investigate these things and share it with other people. I'm in Slovenia now. I used to live in Canada, as you know, but being in Slovenia, it was very difficult for me. I didn't know where to get any natural sources here. So I really had to investigate, and it was different for me. So finding those things, as you know, but on being in Slovenia, it was very difficult. So if somebody hadn't been saying on their Facebook, sources, this is what I buy, this is what I do, it would have been easier for me to process that. So if you know good products out there, if you know stuff that you can buy online, that's good for the environment, good for the body, good for your overall experience on this earth and for the earth, then let other people know about it.
Yeah, thank you.
Or even how to do it. I've seen you in videos showing, planting a little bit, and this is important stuff.
Right.
You're doing an amazing job.
I'm so happy you brought that subject, because with this pandemic thing, all the small moms and pop stores are leaving, and everything is switching into that new world order model. The big mega stores, the big mega farming, the big Walmarts, or the big, Amazon that distributes everything. And I think, again, we have been inconvenienced, right? Because of many things are not there, but we also have to be responsible to bring and to go out there and be with our local farmers, be with the people who are making the soaps, as you well mentioned, because those are the businesses that we need to support, because those are the businesses that really are looking after people. They're probably more organic, or they're organic eggs, they're organic vegetables, organic soaps, and organic things. So there's a lot of local people out there that can support being inconvenient at this moment, right? So that's great that you brought that subject. But then the other thing, we have been trained to be convenient for so long. So convenient has been, oh, it's convenient, so let's do it. Oh, it's convenient, it's easy, let's go and do it. So we haven't been doing the inconvenient things that are more for our benefit, right? It's inconvenient to sort the trash. It's inconvenient, to deal with our own healing. So we have to take some quick medicine that restore it when our body is telling us, I need the fever to get rid of this crap that's happening in your body. And you say, no, let's get the fever suppressant so I don't deal with having fever. And actually, fever is a good thing that you need to clear your system, detoxify it, or go through that process to clear yourself, right? But we have learned all of these convenient things that have gone against our own true nature, against our own matrix, own physical body that needs all of that. With just going for convenience, we're putting a lot of preservatives, we're putting a lot of nano stuff in our bodies. We're doing the wrong thing, right? Instead of doing the right thing. So somehow this time that we're living in is bringing us to whatever is a little inconvenient. For me, putting hours in a garden is inconvenient. I just want to go and grab and buy it and eat it, right? That's our natural self. But I'm telling you, there's moments in my garden where I'm like pruning my tomato plants, and I've just went belly down on my belly and flip over and start looking at my tomatoes, and I just went to past childhood memories, and I said, oh my God, it is inconvenient to make my own food. Yeah, it takes a lot of time, but I experienced so many child moments of being the little kid on the earth, getting dirty, looking at my plants and talking to my plants, to the point that I talked so much to my plants that when I had to clear the garden, I had to pull everything out. I was like, oh my God, my plants, my tomatoes, I'm not going to see my tomatoes. This is it. And in one of the evenings at night, I was walking in the middle of the night, and my tomato plants were kind of the spirit of the tomatoes were talking to me. It says, we are so happy that we provided tomatoes for you this summer. And there was a feeling and a connection in that moment that I woke up, which you're in the twilight zone. I was talking to my tomato plants that they were no longer there. They were in my freezer. Okay.
Wow.
And this year, Janice and I made these amazing pizzas. We have these little sweet tomatoes, semi-dry, that I didn't kind of take all the juice out of it. They were semi-dry, and I just used them to do my pizzas, and they were like exquisite. I still have tomatoes for at least 30 pizzas. That's how many tomatoes I got. But You know, this inconvenience allows us to, as you said, it's a new earth. We are working in. It's not the world that we're working on. It's a new earth that we're working in creating this relationship, coming into relationship with what our elders have taught for so long. You know, being in relation, coming in relation with the rocks, being in relation with the plants, with the animals, and setting up that perfect relationship, right? Whenever I put an offering, whatever you know, and developing a relationship with that being that has consciousness. That plant has consciousness, the earth has consciousness, the rocks have consciousness, the waters have consciousness, and it's returning to that sacredness, returning to that is sacred. That relationship is so sacred, and we need to rediscover that. So inconvenience is bringing us to that beautiful part of making our own food, but also tapping into the spirit world that is in the earth, and it's just so beautiful.
Yeah, and I'm getting so much out of what you're saying, because I'm imagining those little tomatoes and they're holding that I am presence, you know, like I am light, I am light, I am light, and they're reaching up and they're drawing in that light, and then you're eating that light. So imagine, and I know you enough to know that when you were planting it, it was all intention, you know. So that intention goes in the earth, and then it's like our cells. What seed we plant for ourselves, it's gonna grow. But that intention of I am the light, and accepting that, and then putting that in your body, that life force energy that goes in your body, is very, very important. But also the fact that it surrenders itself. There's that surrender again, you know, that it knows that it's there for a purpose, but it also knows that it's part of a cycle. Right. Which brings me back to the idea that we're here, that we chose to come here. And then there's the other subject of, okay, we're here on earth now, but who are we going to be in next lifetime? So what is our job next life? So imagine if we're here for 100 years, and then the next life cycle, what is it that we're going to bring? So we need to be thinking in that sense too, in that we need to be able to put here and set the intention for our next life in case we come back right away, or our grandchildren, right? Mm-hmm. Or our grandchildren's grandchildren, 7 generations will come and will be affecting them. So what can we do to set the intention for them? So going back to nature, doing those things are going to be very, very important. You know, being here in Slovenia, Goddess, I have to say, has really brought me back to nature. Here in the yard, we have, you know, apples, we have pears, we have grapes that we can draw from, and we were eating them right into November. Mm-hmm. You know, he had a little garden going, and so we had our own, you know, vegetables that we were putting in our blender each morning and stuff like that. So, and fruit. So this was, you know, very, very important that we're talking about this today, because it's about where we need to focus. It's about what we need to be doing. So it looks like we're going backwards right now, because a lot of people are saying that they're having a hard time even connecting, you know, that it is a harder time period to connect.
Yeah.
But yet,
we talk about that. Yeah.
But yet, how did you connect? You connected through those tomatoes.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
By working with the earth. So it's the earth energies being earthly.
Right.
Becoming earthly. That's how to connect.
Yeah.
Because we need to learn to feel again. We need to feel, but we're putting the good vibrations into the earth instead of saying, oh gosh, you know, it's so wobbly because everybody else is panicking. If we focus on our own truth at that moment and put our focus and our identity into a new consciousness, and we walk more conscious, live more conscious, do things more conscious, then the earth underneath us will be calmer, which will make it calmer all around us. So we affect people all around us. So the more that we calm ourselves down and work with the earthly energies, then the calmer the earth will be again.
Exactly. This is so wonderful, so wonderful. I'm so grateful that you know, we're having this this open talk here and bringing some ideas for all of our viewers, your viewers, my viewers, and expanding this network and hoping, trusting that things are gonna get better for so many people. We just need to look inside and look for those connections, and also don't be afraid to ask, right, for help. And one of the things that we have to understand is that we are not alone. You have spiritual guides, you have angels, you have avatars that you pray to. You're not alone. Always ask and say, okay, I need this. I need to answer to my questions. I need some messages. I need some signs. Am I in the right way? Am I doing the right thing here? Always, we are supported. So it's so important to open ourselves to ask for help. And from angels and also from light workers, right? Like you and I, that are doing the work that we have done our process of transformation, going through that Kundalini awakening in experience and learned that discernment. We all have our hard lessons of discernment, and I did mine. As a young adult, I didn't believe in some of the visions that I had, and it was after that was my 5 years of hell because of not really listening and feeling and doing that. And I learned from that experience. So it is so great to have you, Kim, and so thankful for all the things that you have we have talked about. Is there anything else that you would like to just tell to our audience, some tips and pointers of things to do that would help us go through this dark night of the soul, as we still have another year and something to go through that tunnel, but we know that there's light at the end of the tunnel?
Well, I think it's very important that we remember that whether we're talking about the avatars, the people that are out there doing teachings now, everybody has gone through their moments, right, that but they all found enlightenment through it. So if we take just Buddha, when he was Siddhartha, and he had left the palace because he was, kind of put in a box, and he wanted to expand himself. Yeah, he wanted to expand himself, and he wanted to know about suffering. He wanted to know about these things because he knew that there must be something important about it. So it almost, like, by closing him in, it made him seek harder and harder. So he went to several different teachers before he found himself. And it actually wasn't through a teacher. It was after he went through many, many different teachers, and he ended up starving himself even. And he was like, I didn't find enlightenment. Like, none of that really did it for me. So it was when he gave up and he had his, F it moment, is how I put it. He sat at that tree and said, F it. And he let go. He right. surrendered. He completely surrendered. And it was only then that he found enlightenment. Mm-hmm. And he still had his tests. They tested his light, but his light got sharpened, and that light grew, and people copied it and they pasted it into themselves. So we need to look at who's out there, who's living properly now, who is not wobbly. What are they doing? I want to copy and paste that. Mm-hmm. And you'll notice that the ones that are calmer out there are the ones that are taking care of themselves, eating more organically. Whether they eat meat or not, they're eating cleaner. Mm-hmm. They're eating cleaner. They're living cleaner. So we need to look at that. Awesome. We need to look at that, and we need to copy and paste what is good.
Apply technology to this situation, right?
So perfect. letting go of what we don't need also.
I'm delighted with all the different things, and I want to thank you, Kimspirational. For some reason you use your Kimspirational name, which I think is so extraordinary, because you are an inspiration to many people and to many that seek you, that lose their loved ones, and they can connect with you to get a reading and connect with their deceased ones and find comfort, right? Because that's what happens when whatever you offered is so amazing and so good. And I want to thank to all our angels and guides that have been with us. And I want to thank the Christ, Jesus Christ, Mary Magdalene, for being with us, for sharing their beauty, for the Buddha, for Siddhartha Gautama, all the great masters, that they all went through their own transformation and became the gods that they were at the time, and were able to guide many. And we also, just to remind us that we can also do it. It takes surrendering, acceptance, forgiveness, self-love, and I need help. I surrender, so I'm open. I want to become that open vessel. And then that's when that beautiful higher self of everyone, we all have it, can come in and start merging with a beautiful soul and become that enlightened, wise elder that we all are here to become. So there's so many teachers and so many things happening right now that allows that process to happen. So with those words, I want to close, and your last words for the show, and we'll close after that.
Well, there's something probably important that I should say. I did recently write a book as well, and I'm not trying to promote myself, but I do feel that this book was written at a time period which is during all this, experiences that we're going through. But I wrote a book called The Golden Cages: Illusion of Freedom, and I'm going to be coming out with that this year.
Beautiful.
So it's all together now. We're just getting it together, but it will we'll be taking pre-orders at some point, so I'll get it out there. But the important part of it is that it's about somebody that's seeking, they're surrendering, letting go of the ego. It's about everything that we talked about. So it's a fiction book, but all these things that we need to be going through in order to understand our identity, and the process that the character goes through is very, very important, and it's no different than our lives in what we need to do. So I just wanted to pop that in there.
Awesome.
So yeah, I just want to say thank you to everyone.
You want to say the title of the book?
Yes, Golden Cages, Golden Cages: Illusion of Freedom.
Okay, beautiful. So,
and I decided, just so you know, I decided not to go through the big bookstores. I went with a company that goes with the small guys, and I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I did it on purpose because I want to prove the point that we don't have to be successful and go through the big companies. We can do it through the smaller areas.
Smaller moms and pops.
Mm-hmm. I can't tell people to do it and then not do it myself. So I said this is the way I'm going.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Kim, thank you so much. Namaste to you. I bless you deep from my heart.
Namaste.
All the beautiful things that you brought today. And I just want to thank our avatars, and I thank all of the beautiful guides, spiritual guides, and angels are always with us. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a blessing.
Thank you. So
thank you.
Until we meet again.
Yes, and we always do.
Good care. Bye.
All of us in spirit.
Yes.